My girlfriend said I wasn't good enough, then she discovered who I really was behind the scenes. She judged fast, never knowing the truth until it was too late. When Lily told me I wasn't good enough, I didn't argue, I just smiled. She thought I was a quiet guy with a boring job and no ambition. In truth, I was building something far bigger than anyone around me realized. She wanted luxury and status, while I wanted peace and purpose. We met when I was still testing my startup idea, coding late at night, dreaming of a life where I didn't have to prove myself to anyone. But to her, dreams didn't pay bills. I remember the night she snapped. We were out at a rooftop bar with her friends, people obsessed with appearances. One of them asked what I did for a living. Before I could answer, Lily laughed lightly and said, "He's still figuring things out." The group chuckled. I felt the sting, but I stayed calm. I didn't tell them that figuring things out meant running a tech platform that had just secured its first investors. When we got home, she said she couldn't keep pretending. "You're sweet," she told me, "but I need someone who's already made it." I nodded silently. She packed her things that same week. No drama, no tears, just a cold goodbye that smelled like expensive perfume and disappointment. I didn't chase her. Instead, I focused on my work. Within 6 months, everything changed. The project exploded, investors doubled, and suddenly, I wasn't just that quiet guy. I was the CEO of a fast-growing company that people couldn't stop talking about. The same people who once ignored me now sent invitations, proposals, and partnership offers. And then one night, I saw her name again. Lily. A DM request with a simple line. "Hey, long time no see. You look amazing. How have you been?" I didn't reply, not yet. A week later, I ran into her by accident, or maybe fate was playing with us. I was at a charity gala downtown, one of those events where the air smells like money and nerves. I was speaking with a few investors when I saw her across the room, standing near the bar, wearing the same confidence I once admired. For a moment, her eyes caught mine, and I saw confusion flicker before recognition set in. She blinked twice, like she couldn't believe it was me. Back then, she used to tease me for wearing the same pair of black shoes everywhere. That night, I was in a tailored navy suit, the kind her friends used to say wasn't my style. It wasn't borrowed. It was mine. Custom made. When she finally walked over, she smiled, that soft manipulative smile I knew too well. "Wow, you look different," she said, her tone trying to sound casual. "You too," I replied, and it wasn't a lie. She looked polished, elegant, but there was something forced behind it. A flicker of tension in her voice, like someone performing a role she'd grown tired of. "So, what have you been up to?" she asked, swirling her champagne. I could feel her curiosity fighting her pride. "Working," I said simply. "Building something small that got bigger." I saw the shift in her face, that subtle freeze when realization hits. She knew. My company's logo was printed on one of the event banners right behind us. Her lips parted slightly, then curved into a nervous laugh. "You own that," she whispered. I didn't answer, just smiled. The silence was heavier than any words I could have said. And for the first time, she didn't look superior. She looked small, fragile, even. Before I could say anything else, someone called my name from the stage. The host was introducing me as one of the evening's keynote donors. Lily's eyes widened. The irony wasn't lost on either of us. As I walked toward the stage, I could feel her gaze follow me. The same woman who once told me I had no direction was now watching me from the shadows of a ballroom built for people like her and funded by people like me. I gave my short speech, thanked the partners, and announced a new mentorship program for young entrepreneurs. The applause filled the room, but all I could think about was the quiet disbelief on Lily's face. Afterward, she approached me again, her tone softer, almost trembling. "You never told me you were doing this," she said, gesturing toward the banners, the crowd, the lights. I shrugged. "You never asked." We moved toward the terrace, the city lights stretching below us. "I didn't mean what I said," she started. "Back then, I was scared. I just wanted stability." I turned to face her. "No, you wanted status. There's a difference." Her eyes flickered, and she laughed nervously, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "Maybe, but I made a mistake." Her honesty was surprising, but not convincing. I had spent years replaying her words, using them as fuel to build the life she never thought I could. And now that I had it, I didn't feel the satisfaction I expected. Just quiet clarity. "I'm happy for you," she said finally. "You really proved me wrong." "I didn't do it to prove anything," I replied. "I just stopped needing your approval." The music inside shifted to something slow and romantic, the kind that would have once pulled us closer. Instead, she looked down, swallowing the silence between us. "Can we start over?" she asked. "Just dinner, maybe?" I took a long breath and smiled faintly. "You already left once when things looked uncertain. Imagine what you'd do if life got real again." Her expression broke, the charm faded, replaced by the truth she didn't want to face. For the first time, I realized that letting go wasn't losing. It was winning quietly. After that night, I didn't think much about her. Life got busier, interviews, investors, travel. My company had become a household name in its niche, and every hour felt like a test of patience and endurance. Still, sometimes when the office lights dimmed and I was the last one working, I thought about how easily people decide your worth before you've even finished your story. 3 months later, I saw her name again, this time in the news. A lifestyle blog had published an article about women redefining modern success. There she was, Lily, now listed as a PR consultant for luxury brands, smiling in photos with captions like self-made and unstoppable. I couldn't help but smirk. She had always been good at creating illusions. Then, one afternoon, fate intervened again. My assistant walked in, holding a tablet. "You'll want to see this," she said. It was an event proposal from a new PR firm. They wanted to handle branding for our upcoming charity campaign. The name on the header made my chest tighten slightly, Lily Hayes Consulting. For a moment, I considered rejecting it immediately. But something in me, call it curiosity, maybe justice, told me to read it. Her proposal was professional, impressive even. She had done her research. She clearly didn't know I'd be the one reading it. A week later, during our selection meeting, her firm made the shortlist. "Should we schedule an interview call with Ms. Hayes?" my assistant asked. I paused, then said, "Yes. Schedule it for Monday. I'd like to take that one personally." When Monday came, she joined the video call right on time. The screen flickered, and there she was, same poised expression, same charm, though now mixed with just a touch of fatigue. She smiled politely, not recognizing me right away. "Good morning, I'm Lily from Hayes Consulting. Thank you for considering our firm." Then she froze. "Wait, Alex." I smiled. "Hi, Lily. Long time." For a full 5 seconds, she didn't say a word. Just stared at the screen, blinking as if the pixels were lying to her. Then, with a shaky little laugh, she said, "Wow, I didn't expect you to be the client." "I figured," I replied. "But don't worry, I'm professional." The silence that followed was thick enough to cut with a knife. She glanced down, probably trying to decide whether to end the call or pretend everything was fine. In the end, she chose the latter. "So," she began, her voice regaining its usual control, "I've gone through your company's brand presence. I think we could do a lot to enhance its emotional connection with the audience." "Interesting," I said, leaning back in my chair. "Because if I remember correctly, you once said I wasn't emotionally impressive enough to connect with anyone." Her cheeks flushed pink, and for a moment, the polished consultant vanished, replaced by the girl who once belittled me for dreaming. "I deserve that," she murmured. "I was immature, and I said things I didn't mean." I smiled faintly. "You meant every word. You just didn't expect me to outgrow them." She nodded slowly, looking away. "Maybe I didn't. But I've changed, Alex. Life's been humbling." Something in her tone sounded genuine, almost tired. For the first time, I saw beyond the facade, not the arrogant social climber, but someone who had finally tasted her own lessons. Still, I kept my guard. "I'll review your proposal," I said. "If it fits, we'll move forward." She smiled almost gratefully. "Thank you. And Alex, I'm proud of what you've done. Really." I nodded, ending the call. As the screen went dark, I sat there for a long moment, unsure if the warmth I felt was satisfaction or something dangerously close to forgiveness. The next day, my team voted unanimously. Lily's firm had the strongest pitch. I didn't interfere. Professionalism was my armor now. A month later, she officially joined the campaign as our external PR partner. Watching her walk into my office for the first meeting was like seeing a ghost of the past, dressed in confidence and quiet regret. She greeted the team first, shaking hands, smiling perfectly. When her eyes finally met mine, she hesitated, just long enough for me to notice. "Good to see you again," she said softly. "Likewise," I replied, my tone neutral but not cold. During the meeting, she was sharp, prepared, completely in control. My staff admired her professionalism. I had to admit, so did I. When the room emptied, she lingered behind. "Alex, can we talk privately?" I gestured toward the window. "Go ahead." She folded her arms, looking out at the skyline. "You probably think I came back to use you," she began. "But that's not true. I didn't even know this was your company when I applied. I just wanted a chance to do something right this time." I studied her quietly. There was no makeup hiding her exhaustion now, no designer disguise. Just sincerity, or maybe guilt. "You don't owe me an explanation," I said. "You made your choice back then. I made mine." Her voice broke slightly. "I didn't choose right. I thought success came with people who already had it. Turns out, it comes from people who build it." That sentence hit harder than I expected. For a moment, I saw the girl I once loved, not the one who left. "Lily," I said softly, "sometimes we only see value when it's gone. That's human, but it doesn't mean the story repeats." She turned, meeting my gaze. "So what does that mean for us?" "It means," I replied slowly, "we finish this project and nothing more." Her eyes glistened, but she nodded. "Understood." As she left the room, I realized how strange growth feels. It's not triumph. It's peace where pain used to live. Working with Lily again was surreal. Days turned into weeks of polite conversations, late-night email exchanges, and carefully measured distance. She was efficient, creative, and disciplined, all the things she hadn't been before. Sometimes during brief pauses in meetings, I caught her watching me with a kind of quiet admiration that she tried to hide. One evening, we stayed late finalizing the campaign presentation. The office was empty except for the glow of 2 computer screens. She sighed, rubbing her temples. "You were always this focused," she said. "I just never saw it." "Maybe you weren't looking," I replied, not unkindly. She smiled faintly. "You know what the worst part is? Back then, I thought ambition was supposed to look loud, expensive cars, fancy restaurants, big gestures. But you were building everything silently." Her words lingered. I didn't know whether to feel vindicated or sad. "It's strange," she added after a moment. "You turned out to be everything I was chasing, but without the arrogance I mistook for success." I looked at her, seeing not the girl who once left me, but the woman who finally understood why. "Maybe we were both trying to prove something," I said. "You wanted validation. I wanted respect." Lily leaned back, thoughtful. "And did you get it?" I paused. "Yes. But it doesn't feel the way I imagined. It's quieter." She nodded slowly. "The quiet kind, that's the real thing." We didn't talk much after that. Just silence, comfortable, for the first time. When the presentation day arrived, she delivered it flawlessly. The campaign was a success. Clients cheered, investors were impressed. Afterward, she approached me in the hallway, holding a small gift bag. "This isn't professional," she said, handing it to me, "but it's sincere." Inside was a pen, engraved with one sentence, "To the man who built his own worth." I didn't know what to say. "Thank you," was all I managed. As she walked away, I realized I didn't hate her anymore. I didn't love her either. What I felt was something rarer, closure. After the campaign wrapped up, Lily's firm kept getting more projects, including a few that came through my recommendations. I didn't do it out of sentiment. She'd earned it. But part of me knew she'd never forget where that second chance came from. One Friday evening, as I was leaving the office, she was waiting in the lobby. She looked different. No business armor, no calculated poise. Just a woman standing there, holding her phone, nervous. "Hey," she said quietly. "Got a minute?" We walked out into the night air. The city was alive, lights reflecting off glass, laughter from nearby cafes, the hum of everything moving forward. "I wanted to thank you," she began. "Not just for the job. For not humiliating me when you could have." I smiled slightly. "You did that to yourself. I didn't need to help." She laughed softly. "Fair. Still, you showed grace. That's rare." For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then she said something unexpected. "You know, I used to think love was about finding someone impressive. Now, I think it's about finding someone kind. I looked at her, really looked. She wasn't the same woman who had walked out of my life years ago. Success had humbled her. Time had stripped away the illusion. I'm glad you figured that out, I said. She hesitated. Do you ever think about us? I took a breath, watching the city lights dance in the reflection of her eyes. Sometimes, I admitted, but not in the way you think. It's like remembering an old version of myself. A boy who needed to be seen. She nodded slowly, her voice barely above a whisper. And now, I said, I see myself, and that's enough. She smiled, bittersweet and real. I'm happy for you, Alex. I know, I replied, and I hope you're happy for you too. We said goodbye that night without promises or regret, just understanding. The kind that comes when both people finally stop pretending they're still the same. Months passed, and our paths naturally drifted apart. The company grew, new opportunities arrived, and life began to feel calm again, steady in a way that didn't depend on anyone else's validation. But every now and then, I'd catch a memory of her, the way she used to fill a room with charm, or how her laughter once made everything feel lighter. Memories, I realized, aren't always tied to love. Sometimes they're just markers of who we used to be. One evening, while reviewing a partnership proposal, I noticed her firm's name again, this time listed as a subcontractor under a global brand. She was expanding, thriving, doing exactly what she was meant to do. A quiet smile formed on my face. Maybe in her own way, she'd finally learned to build something real too. A few weeks later, I received a handwritten letter, an odd surprise in a digital world. It was from Lily. The handwriting was elegant but hesitant. Alex, you once told me that people only see value when it's gone. You were right. But sometimes when they finally see it, it's not to get it back. It's to thank it for existing. Thank you for being kind when you didn't have to be. For reminding me that worth isn't loud. It's quiet, patient, and earned. I wish you peace, the kind you always carried, even when I couldn't see it. There was no signature at the end. Just her name, simple, almost weightless. I folded the letter carefully and placed it in the drawer of my desk, not as a keepsake, but as a reminder. Sometimes the people who break you are also the ones who make you rebuild better. That night, as the city lights flickered outside my window, I realized the story wasn't about revenge or redemption. It was about growth, hers and mine. A year later, I was invited to speak at an entrepreneurship summit in San Francisco, a full-circle moment. On the panel beside me sat some of the people who had once ignored my calls, laughed at my proposals, or told me I was aiming too high. I didn't feel bitterness anymore, just gratitude. Every rejection had shaped me. Every not good enough had built the man sitting there. After my talk, the crowd thinned, and as I stepped off the stage, someone called my name. I turned, and there she was, Lily. Dressed simply, no pretense this time, just warmth in her eyes. You were incredible, she said, smiling genuinely. I'm proud of you. Thank you, I said, and for the first time, I meant it without reservation. She told me she had moved to another city, started mentoring young women who'd lost confidence in themselves. I guess I'm trying to be the kind of person I once needed, she said. I smiled. Then you're doing better than most. We talked for a few minutes, about work, life, nothing too deep. When it was time to leave, she extended her hand. I shook it steady and calm. There was no tension, no unfinished business. Just peace. As she walked away, disappearing into the crowd, I realized something profound. Sometimes the people who doubt you are the mirrors you need to see your own strength. I had spent years trying to prove myself to her, only to discover that the real victory wasn't proving anything at all. Because I was never not good enough. I was just waiting for the right time to show who I really was, quietly, confidently, and without the need for anyone's permission.